Okay, guys, I know it's been a while, and I want to talk about this coronavirus. Now, in my opinion, it's not that big of a deal. I'm not that concerned. Do I want to catch that? No, because of course, kids and the elderly or so, if I was to give them something like that, they'd probably be more at risk than your young, healthy, average adult. I think it's not that big of a deal unless people with weaker immune system or something like that. If we get some news otherwise, then yeah, okay, I'll worry a bit more. But I don't think it's that big of a deal. And I'm not one of these big preppers. I'm not making a business out of this crap or nothing. I just do this because it's what I like to do. I'm not going to tell you it's not a big deal and then leave links to all kinds of expensive gas masks and then put a target on your back when things really get bad. When things really get bad and you're walking around with a mask like that. You're going to put a target on your back when people are really desperate if something got that bad. Now, something like that, it's got to be really bad. You're talking like, to actually walk outside like that. Something like 12 monkeys or something like that, okay? Other than that, I wouldn't wear a mask, the big old gas mask, something like that, put a target on my back. Do it, low tech, buy a bunch of masks, goggles, stuff like that, where you're prepared, but you're not letting everybody know, hey man, this guy was ahead of the game. That could be that's more dangerous than any sicknesses, people that are panicking. Anyway, let's get into some things I want to talk about. Now, let's talk about the mortality rate of this coronavirus. That's really, let's put some things into perspective. We'll start with things that are less fatal and more fatal. I'll give you kind of a reference, okay? So, the coronavirus has a mortality rate about 2.5%, right? And I believe it's gonna spread. When this first happened, like about a week ago, I'm talking to coworkers and they're talking about it at work, asking me if I know about it, and I'm like, yeah, that's gonna spread, guys. There's nothing you can do about it. They closed the barn doors after the horses left, right? If you can walk around symptomatic for 2 weeks, without non-symptomatic, you have no symptoms. You're walking around, you're contagious, but you're not showing any sign of sickness. Then if somebody's going to check your temperature, unless you're showing signs yet, if you show signs, you could be infected and just walk right into the population. So I said, it's going to spread. That I'm sure about. And it's going to be like a bad case of flu. So, again, coronavirus, from what we know, mortality rate, chances of you dying from it are pretty low. About 2.5%. Now, get it low, yeah, okay. Some estimates of Spanish flu, right, are said to be like 3%. There's different estimates. Some as low as 3%. Some say between 10 and 20%. So the high, let's say rounded off, high would be about 15%. Low about 3%, right? But that's another topic. We'll swing back to that here in a sec. But let's say your typical flu. Your typical flu, last flu season, killed 80,000 Americans. Now, I want you to think back to the last flu season. Did you see bodies in the street all over the place? I didn't. Did y'all see bodies all over the street? No. Right? What about the swine flu? It had a mortality rate of 2%. Right? You got infected. You got hit really hard. There was a 2% chance that it'd kill you. Back when the swine flu was circling around. Did you notice bodies all over the street? Littering the street? I didn't. Okay, so this coronavirus, you're looking at 2.5 mortality rate. So the odds of you being okay if you caught that, are pretty high. The chances are way in your favor that you're going to survive rather than not. You might not even show symptoms with this coronavirus, okay? It could get worse. We don't know yet. Okay, and there's something else I want y'all to think about. I read somewhere that like half of Chinese men smoke, right? They're heavy smokers over there, right? Or more so than in the U.S. If you smoke a lot, you're going to be more susceptible to respiratory infections, okay? So that could be why you've got 2%, 2.5% of people where it broke out in China dying from it. Maybe a lot of this population smoking, being heavy smokers, could be contributing to that. Another thing, there's people infected that are not symptomatic. So they're not going to show symptoms. They're not going to get sick at all. They're going to be infected, but they're not added to the counted number of infected. So there's more people out there infected than we think to divide by how many people are dying from it. So that number could go down. Something else to think about is on the other side. That's assuming you believe the Chinese government. But again, we can kind of see, you know, that may be a factor. That maybe there's more people infected. Even they're suppressing numbers. It's harder to hide a death, right? I heard that they're cremating people in secret. Yeah, but if it's that deadly, we're going to find out pretty soon. We'd already know. There'd be people really sick. It's been going on for a little while, right? I say the next month. I was telling my wife that it's going to spread. She was worried about it. Like, look, you know, it's going to spread, but it's not that bad. Not yet. There's no reason to panic. Not yet. Now, I'm going to show you some things that you should put aside for such an event that, you know, that does circle around. People get it. Odds are, you know, it's going to go around like a bad case of the flu. So, let's go over this real quick, and then I'm going to go into some things that you should worry about and things you should have aside if you are worried about the coronavirus. So, the way I see it, you want to treat this like a bad case of the flu, or just a flu, right? They seem to spread the same way. They're very similar. You don't wash your hands, right? If it was really bad, stay out of public places. Don't go out unless you have to, right? Use common sense. Wash your hands. Use Lysol on surfaces or bleach. Cut some bleach with water. Spray down surfaces. You know, use common sense, guys. Hand sanitizer. Stuff like that. Keep some hand sanitizer on your keychain or in your purse or something, right? There's simple things you can do to prevent yourself from catching this if it gets out there. Now, of course, I said hand sanitizer, Lysol, right? Stuff like that would be beneficial. Now, let's say there was something spreading around, or you thought you were sick. There's no vaccine, there's no medication for it yet, right? Vaccines take a while. So they say over-the-counter medications, rest fluids, like you would with another flu. So let me show you some things that I have on hand for such an event. And this is for something else that I'm going to get into in a second, right? Something that I worry about, that I have this stuff aside. Now, if the coronavirus was worse than we thought, then I got this at my disposal, right? It's like the guy that's actually prepping for like a zombie apocalypse, and let's say then a hurricane or flood or some natural disaster, you know, tears up the town. He's set. Well, the guy that everybody was laughing at, he's okay, right? And everybody that was laughing at him starved to death, assuming he don't decide to share and give up, you know, put his family at risk. But anyway, the same kind of thing. I have this for something more major. I think myself, I think an avian flu, like specifically H5N1. That's what I would be worried about. Okay, we'll get into some numbers, but let's go into this, what I got aside, and what I would use if Corona got bad. Tea tree oil. This stuff, you put under your nose, right? It's really good at killing germs, parasites, and such. That's one thing I recommend. Really strong stuff. dirt cheap, right? Keeps a while. That'd be a good idea to have this on hand. Oil of oregano. I got me some other stuff the other day, some other supplements, and buy one get one free. So this is one of the things I took for free. Pretty cheap. Well, for me it was free 99, but if I would have paid for it, $7. Cheap, good to have on hand. You take this, you know, some vitamin C, which I didn't pull out, but vitamin C would be a good thing to have around. Black elderberry, that's going to be good. Boost your immune system, especially for respiratory infections, stuff like that. This would be something good to have around. And then, my personal favorite, which I love this stuff, colloidal silver. This guy is 1,000 parts per billion, right? This bottle sets you back about $35 right now. You put a couple drops under your tongue, which if something bad was going around, man, I'd use an oral injector and give my family quite a bit for a couple weeks, especially if they're showing symptoms, right? Colloidal silver. I mean, when you get MRSA, flesh-eating bacteria, the bandages they pack you with and the medication has silver in it, right? Silver has, it's insanely strong. It'll kill viruses, bacteria, parasites. I mean, you know, it's antifungal, antimicrobial. This stuff is tough stuff, right? That, I forget what strain of flu it was going around a couple years ago. Was it H7N2, I believe? It was hitting people pretty hard. It put some of my co-workers down for 2 weeks. Me taking this stuff, I was back in 4 days. Tough stuff. Now this one, I actually put it in a glass bottle. I prefer glass, so I emptied it. But I figured, let me show you this guy here. Colloidal silver, 10,000 parts per billion. This is what I have aside, and every so often I'll take it, cut it with some purified water, and just, you know, fill this thing up when it's empty and just use that. Buy a fresh one, keep myself stocked. This is going to set you back about $150, right? But then again, I'm the kind of guy, well, don't want to spend $150 and have peace of mind of something I trust, and I think it works, at least with me it does. I mean, I've recovered out of stuff real quick. Or spend it on booze and going out and be like, you know, someday, oh man, I wish I would have spent that $150. I'd rather just have it for peace of mind, man. Right? $150 puts my mind at ease. So these are some of the typical things you'd have around. Of course, maybe Tamiflu, something like that for respiratory. I don't know how much it work against coronavirus, but respiratory infection, just simple things you can get around. You know, maybe take some Theraflu along with this stuff and lots of rest and fluids. You should be fine with something like this. Now, let's talk about something that is deadly. Like, look at, what is it? The one of the more easily transmitted respiratory infections. I think it's the H7N7, right? Or H7N9. I forget which one of the two is it. Deadly. Give you about a 33% chance mortality rate. You get that 33% chance that you're not going to make it. Right? But the odds are in your favor that you would. So it's still, you know, odds are in your favor. Now you go to something like H5N1, 60% mortality rate. The odds are that you wouldn't make it. So if you think this coronavirus could get something like that, or even like the 33%, the H7N7 or H7N9, whichever one of them two, I'm not sure right now at the moment, but the 33% mortality rate, anything like that. If you thought it'd get like that, what are some things you want to have on hand? Low key, that aren't going to get everybody to follow you home and see what you got. Oh, this guy's set up pretty good. He's got to have other stuff, and I need it. Low key stuff, inexpensive. You can protect a lot of people. Let's go over some of those things. Okay? The N95 mask. I got a ton of these things, right? And if you look, I think it's in China and Hong Kong, okay? And yeah, it's Hong Kong. They're having shortages of these masks, of just face masks in general. This is something you want to have aside beforehand. Beforehand. Remember, my wife had a cold or allergies. I forget what it was. It wasn't serious. Hon, let me get one of your masks. Sorry, hon, I can't. We'll get you some, just a regular old surgical mask or something. You can't spare one? No, I cannot spare one. These work for an hour. I need those. If we need them, we cannot get them. By the time we need them, we cannot get more. I got a ton of these, and I do not use them. Right? I keep them aside for when I need them. Some allergies or something, man, use some cheap facial masks or something. Gloves. Right? Cheap gloves. Latex gloves, simple, disposable, use them, throw them away. Use hand sanitizer and gloves, right? Another thing, goggles. Keep in mind, with some of these respiratory infections, you can get that in your eye, right? Your eyes are nice, wet. Someone sneezes, it gets in your eye, it'll start replicating, get in your system, right? Your mouth, you know, I mean, if you were to somehow get in your cornhole, man, you could get infected. So, goggles. That'd be a good idea to keep in hand. Right? You could get some in your eyes if it's that bad. You don't want to. If you think this could get that bad, good stuff to have on hand. If you think something worse could come around, good stuff to have on hand. I've got some of these guys. Disposable coveralls. Right? And pack of 3. These things set me back like 12 bucks. I checked it. They're like, I think like 20 bucks. Just under 20 bucks. Right now, right? Something like this, they're not going to last forever, but you really wouldn't want to bring a suit like that back inside, right? You're going to have to change outside or something if things are that bad. You're not going to be bringing the stuff in. Or like the CDC, they do jumping jacks with Lysol for a couple minutes before they go in and out, or they come out of the labs. So something like that. I mean, you're not going to go out there where it's infected, have the suit on, then bring it inside into the air you breathe it. No. You know, disposable stuff that you would chunk. For a little bit of added protection, I like these cheap rain ponchos. Just to put over that with some tape, you know, reinforce a little bit. It's going to go bye-bye anyway if things got that bad. And those are some of the things that I'd recommend having on hand if things got really bad. Really simple. Not that expensive. You're not going to raise suspicion that, okay, if he's got this, he's got to have other stuff that I need. No, man. Right? There's a reason I don't show my face. There's a reason I don't tell everybody what I do. When somebody needs something, well, hey, man, they're desperate. They're going to do things they wouldn't normally do. So, I'm practicing what I preach, guys. This is what I believe. You know, let me go over a couple other things before I let you guys go that I have aside for like a really bad, like a pandemic type situation. Me, I've always thought it'd be H5N1 that'd be the most likely to really do some damage. Colloidal silver, you see that guy. Colloidal gold. Colloidal copper. Copper, you better be careful not to take too much of that stuff though. N95 masks. Gloves. Hand sanitizer. Lysol. Bleach. Non-scented in case I need it for water. Safety glasses, rain poncho, electrolyte drink mixes like your emergencies. I got tons of those. We use those quite a bit. We cycle out through them. Dietary supplements. That you may need too. You never know. Right? Essential oils, clove, oil of oregano, tea tree oil. Okay? Got 2 of those there. I don't have the clove, but maybe I'll pick some up later. And some actually looking into this, I plan to do, but I never did. Dry herbs and mylar to make immunity boosting tea. Oregano, thyme, cinnamon, clove, peppermint, sage, rosemary, black peppercorn, and dried ginger just for mylar. Really a good thing, excellent thing to have on hand. For something like that would be fresh ginger, of course, you know. You'd have to get it, go and buy it unless you're growing it. But ginger is amazing stuff, man. When I had I forget what it was. It was like a flu or something way back. Just a typical average, you know, run-of-the-mill flu, man, that stuff brought me back for a couple hours at a time. I just drank it. It's rough stuff, but it's a miracle worker, man. So yeah. Anyway, those are things that I recommend. I'll leave some links to some of the stuff in the description bar. Like I said, cheap, easy to find. You can cover a lot of people, and you're not going to draw attention. Okay, I can't stress that enough. If things are that bad, people are desperate. At the same time, you want to be covered and be protected. But desperate people, man, are probably more dangerous, right? If people are really nutcase and desperate, probably going to be more than 2.5% chance that something bad could happen, right? So anyway, that's it. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll update this if something else comes out. But at the moment, that's where we're at. Anyway, hope it helps. If you're really worried about something like this getting bad, or for something else, again, some of the things I recommend I'll put in the description bar. And like I said, I recommend this. I practice what I preach. Here it is. So anyway, that's it. You guys have a good one. I'm out.